All right. So I guess we're live here, folks. Good to see you on here. So here's the deal. We have got a good one for you today. My name is Ryan Howe, coming to you live from here in West Michigan. I'm a business coach, works out of West Michigan. And one of the things I've been dealing with consistently has been helping businesses understand the value proposition that they offer to their customers. And right now, what we're struggling with, and I can say that definitively, when you're looking at these larger companies like Target, like Starbucks, they've lost their way. They've completely misconstrued what the value proposition that they offer, and we want to look at some of that stuff today. So with that, I hope to earn your subscription today. Let's get into this here. So I thought I'd start with actually just taking a look at the what the phrase value proposition even means. Okay, I think it's really important for us to spend some time on here. A value proposition is a concise statement that explains a unique benefit a company's product or service offers to a specific customer segment, highlighting how it solves a problem better than its competitors. And that's the key point here. So let's talk. We're going to look at articles today from CNN and what's the other one I got here? I think, well, we'll see where it's at. We got two articles today that specifically are outlining between Target and Starbucks some of the things they're dealing with, and it has to do with the value proposition. And what I would say is when you have the opportunity to look at, let's say again, Starbucks, what's the actual value proposition for going there? Do they offer you something, anything unique? Do they offer anything special? What's different about them than any other coffee shop? And it has to do with them being in what would be a mature market, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. The other piece would be Target. What's the value proposition to go into Target right now? What do they offer that is different, that solves the problems better than what you are? I can get at Walmart or any other places, Marshalls. Feel free to pick any of those locations. And that's what I would be looking at here. For the longest time, the value proposition for Target was, what was it? Not shopping at Walmart. That was the proposition. Well, now we're at the point where, uh, is that even the case now? All right, so let's take a look here. Target may have hit rock bottom. Again, this is from CNN. Again, Target's problems are intensifying. In the latest signal of trouble, the company reported sales dropping during its latest quarter, which has been dropping forever. Company sales have stagnated for about 4 years, and Target said last month that it would cut 1,000 corporate employees, roughly 8% of its global workforce. Target is betting that new CEO and investments can spark a turnaround at the company, but Wednesday quarterly financial reports showed there's no quick fix. What I go back to, folks, what does Target actually offer? What's different? Why would I be compelled to go to Target? Do they offer anything substantially different and or better experience-wise for Walmart? Again, for Target, for the longest time, their value proposition is we're not if you shop with us, you're not shopping at Walmart. That was it. Well, now, and this is something that I've talked with my wife about, and I talked with quite a few folks about. The buyers at Walmart have gotten better. There's actually the quality is seeping back into Walmart, and in ways that folks really weren't expecting. So we're seeing this also, folks. We're obviously compressed as far as what we have for capital available in cash. So you have more people who are actively saying, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, I don't even want to have to pay the extra for the right to not go to Target. I'm just going to go to Walmart instead." That's what you're seeing. Other thing here that's happening now, let's go over to Starbucks. And this is another piece that I just want to make sure I touch on here is that, so when we're talking about Starbucks, Starbucks bets on Gen Z to bring back coffee house culture. So again, I'm not Gen Z, but I know a few, but let's just say in general, Starbucks created, and I would say for the most part, they created what would be the coffee house culture in the United States, right? They imported it from Europe and set it up. It's what they're known for. And what they've done is they've created the actual market. And in the world of business, there's something that's referred to as, what would be the overall business cycle that you're going to have within a new business, where it goes to something new. There's a growth phase, and then it becomes mature, right? Where there's many, many competitors that exist. And and that's where you see the folks that were the first movers. They still have an advantage, but they struggle to be able to, one, maintain their current clients, and two, innovate in any way, shape, or form that's going to bring in new folks. And that's where we're at with Starbucks right now. And it's not Starbucks' fault per se. I just want to be clear on this. This happens in every single market. Any new industry that comes out, there is going to be growth that occurs, and it's going to bring in people who are going to get into that business. Again, you can go way back in time, but let's say Sears. Sears started as the place where folks would go to buy all of their home goods, and it was just that was the spot. Sears doesn't really have that anymore, right? Because other competitors came up and did it better, offered a different value proposition for their guests, more targeted sales and services and for their guests. And that's what we're seeing right now. Now, there are plenty of coffee shops that are out there that offer, I would say, identical products and services that Starbucks has. And so now the question is, do I just go to Starbucks out of loyalty, or do I go to this other coffee shop because it's local? Somebody local owns them. And you're seeing that tends to be what the value proposition right now is for a lot of folks here, is that they are willing to maybe even pay a little bit more and go to a coffee shop that's owned locally. So the value proposition for Starbucks, what is it? And this is really, it goes back to all these things. That's why, as a business coach, I help businesses. Mostly, I help businesses get ready to sell. That's what I do. But I have plenty of clients that have no desire to sell. We're simply just improving their overall business. If you want to learn more about how I help businesses, go to summitbusinessguys.com. You can check that out. Um, but we spend a lot of time talking about what the differentiator is. Why are people even coming to work with you? Why do they come into the door and ask you for help? And this is what Target and Starbucks are screwing up right now. What is it? Why would I go to Target? And you are not going to get an answer that's a differentiator out of the folks from Target that is going to move the needle, is going to make any sense. It's just not going to happen. The same thing goes for the folks at Starbucks. They cannot give you again, an answer, a value proposition of why I should go to Starbucks instead of any of the other coffee shops that are available. And that's the problem. And so it doesn't matter which CEO you bring in. It doesn't matter again, Target's looking to reinvest in remodeling. They just did remodeling. That didn't help anything. So you remodel, you can adjust your overall stores. It doesn't matter unless you can talk about what it is you offer that's better. And that's where we're stuck at. So expect Starbucks and Target to continue stagnate, if not can drop in sales. They are the new CEO at Starbucks. I just don't think he's the right guy for it. We're not seeing the turnaround. In matter of fact, he's driving away and driving more of the employees to unionize, which is going to eventually hinder profits, which is going to lower the overall experience for guests that are going through there. I don't have the answer, but I will say this much. Starbucks and Target, they're just two examples of businesses that did have it for a while. They had it locked in, and then they took it for granted. They didn't keep innovating. They didn't keep track of exactly what it was that people were looking for, and they misinterpreted noise online, which in a lot of cases for what their actual guests and their guests were looking for, and they're paying for it now. Okay, so for business owners that are out there, entrepreneurs, I cannot overstate you spend as much time as possible figuring out exactly what it means to have a differentiator. You have to have that figured out, and if you can't get that figured out, you're always going to be struggling to find your way as again, the value proposition for guests to be able to be successful, be profitable down the road. Okay. So anyways, that's what we got for today, folks. Take care. I will see you next time.